If you can stop talking for 10 seconds, that would be fantastic. You want to hit the start timer on there? You want to hit? You want to start podcasting, genius?
Welcome back to New England Vocab. Now that winter's here, snow's flying around, it's important for you to know what a space saver is.
A space saver.
Saver, like a lifesaver. Now, a space saver is any object you're going to use to save your parking space.
What do you mean saving the space? Why do you need to save a space?
Yeah, saving the space. You go out early morning, shovel out your parking spot, you head off to work. Some ding-a-ling comes by, says, "Oh, look, a parking spot." I don't think so, pal. Okay? That's why I'm going to put this giant orange cone right here in the middle of the street. Says, this is my spot. You go shovel out your spot, wherever that may be. Not my responsibility.
Okay, but it's on street parking, right? So it's not really your spot.
See, that's where you're wrong. It is my spot, okay? I did the work. I shoveled. All right? What did you do? Probably eating pancakes in your pajama pants. All right? That spot belongs to me now until at least April.
Hello, welcome to Carnival Personnel Sideshow. It's just Jacques, no Joe, no Biff today, because they hate me and they're smart. But for a while, I've been there's a great follow on Instagram is where I found this gentleman. And then recently, I was on a really fun fundraiser. Didn't realize that one of my social media follow/heroes was the same person, just looked so different in the headshot, and you know, and it wasn't until I was putting
hero, Jacques. That hair at your age, that's hero.
And so with that, a big Carnival Personnel Sideshow welcome for New England dad Zach Remi. Zach, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
I don't know where to start. Like I said after our show and the social media when I posted about the show, they say don't meet your heroes. I did, and it was delightful because you were delightful. Your comedy was hysterical, and it was just great hanging out. But we'll start with the socials. We'll start with like New England Dad. How did that all start?
It was very out of boredom. You know, I was a teacher for a long time, and during COVID, kind of ended up staying home with the kids, and then just started that. Didn't really know what I was doing with it at first, and kind of found an avenue. At first, I did a lot more parenting humor online, and then the New England based stuff kind of took off. So,
and what grades were you teaching?
You go with whatever works on social,
Yes, and lots of people are blowing. I mean, that literally is the no barrier to entry is the great equalizer. And it's also the great shitstorm. But your stuff raised above the din. But go back to teaching. What level were you teaching?
I was an elementary school teacher.
And do you miss it every day?
I don't miss the schedule, believe it or not. A lot of people think it's the dream schedule because summer's off and stuff, but I wasn't a fan of waking up at having to be at work at 6:30 or 7 every day.
And as a dad, though, of young children, you get to sleep in. How exactly does that work? Walk me through that process.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as bad, but it's not. It's at least not double duty,
So your kids are young. You were teaching. You got into comedy. But when did the social start? Was it during the pandemic? You started shooting the sketches.
What's that?
You started shooting the sketches during the COVID lockdown?
2021. Yeah, in 2021, I think.
And how soon did
It
you?
kind of was at like the end of the TikTok wave. I like held off for a while. It was funny. I actually like didn't even have a smartphone until 2020. I like went forever without a smartphone, and I was just a teacher forever, and I did, I never. I was one of those people that like, I was a first generation college person, so jobs were always like very in a box for me, and it's like the social so I got a phone in 2020, and then once I did, I was like, might as well do something with it. So started that, and yeah, it probably took like a year or two for things to start picking up with that, at least I'd say.
Now, how did your better half take it that like, you know, you, her husband's going to be doing all these shenanigans? Was she totally in? Was she like, all right, this is a phase, or was she like, yeah, go for it. You're really funny. Your voice needs to be heard by the masses.
Yeah. I mean, I just think she's very supportive in whatever I want to do. So, and I was staying home with the kids anyway, so it's like it was anything was a bonus. And so
Now, are your kids old enough to know that you're on the socials? Or are they unaware of?
they're starting to figure it out a little bit, I think. I don't think they know exactly like what's going on, but
I mean, do they see you setting up your recording and be like, Dad's
a
talking to
little
his
bit.
imaginary friend again?
I try not to do it around, I try and like do it when they're in school and stuff, but they're more aware of me like going out at night.
To do the comedy?
Yeah.
And so
Even though that's not paying me.
when did stand up start?
Almost 2 years ago now. Like this coming June, I'd say will be about 2 years.
And from what I gather, it's been a really productive and busy pushing all the chips in the middle of the table, as far as like, for
Yeah.
lack of a better way
I
of
mean,
saying, going for it.
Yeah, the first year I was going to open mics, I'd say at least like four, if not like 5 nights a week for like a straight year. And then after that, starting to get booked more and you know, still try and get out like Wednesday to Saturday, but
And where? So you're northern. You're north of Manchester, I believe, New Hampshire. Where were the mics that
yeah,
you were going to?
all over Manchester. I was going into Boston once a week. And then Manchester. There's a couple mics up here, like in Hanover in Lebanon.
And are they good mics? Are they like worth the drive, or and are they old or younger? Because you're not young, you're not old, you're in that middle ground, but you're a dad. And are there other dads here, or are you like going up and talking about your family, your brand of comedy, which is very family oriented and stuff like that, to a bunch of stone 23-year-olds trying to outgross each other?
I know. Yeah, that can be tricky, which is kind of why like I've probably stopped going so much. But yeah, I mean, I can be silly too if I want to be.
And so let's talk about your comedy, if we may. I saw your show. It was beyond fantastic. Very relatable for me, because you talked a great deal about taking small children to Disney, which
Yeah,
um, we
and I
lived.
need to build like on the Disney part of that.
My wife and I are now at the stage of life where if we if we could afford it, we would go back to being like, we would be Disney adults, but I never went to Disney till we had a kid. She always wanted to go because she loved it, and we lived right near the one in Anaheim. And then once we did have a kid, we went like once or twice a week for the next 10 years. So, so yes, we are weirdo theme park people. But your brand of humor It's all family based, or not all. It's very family based and stuff like that. What is your writing process? And do you check things off with your wife before you do it, or are you going out there and saying, hey, if she sees this, maybe she'll like it, or do you clear stuff with management before you bring it to the general public?
I mean, not really. She, yeah, I feel like she hears most of what I like am writing about, probably. Um, I don't think I would talk about anything that like would make her uncomfortable either way, but
Tell me more about your comedy. What are the goals with this? I know you are a quote unquote amateur farmer, which I love to talk more about that. In college, I was friends with a few amateur farmers, but
yeah. I
that,
live in New Hampshire, so we'll keep that on the hush. But
yes, the live free or state die. No motorcycle helmet. Can't have weed, which
yeah,
I don't do, but I find hysterical because I live on the border, and for anybody outside the border of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, most of the borders have weed shops. Literally within about 100 yards of New Hampshire. So you can drive over. You got to stop at the state line in New Hampshire, put your motorcycle helmet on to go the next 100 yards.
yeah.
But tell me, like, what are the legit goals? Where do you see this going? And how committed are you to taking whatever next steps might be taken in comedy?
I don't really know. Like, I heard a quote the other day that was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna be there every day." And it's like that's kind of how I feel. It's like,
Is it that the same principles you took into teaching every morning in the elementary schools?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I like to, yeah. My mindset's like the more I can get in front of people, the better, and whatever comes out of that, great. I'm doing well with social, and I got kind of like a full-time gig out of that. Working like for Nalt's Power Sports, and I do like their content. So, I'm just trying to get out as much as possible and just like continue to get better because I have a long way to go too. So, it's like I just want to get better at writing and get better at performing and just keep working, so
Well, as somebody who has seen you do 25 minutes at a packed, actually beyond packed place with that charity we did the fundraiser for, has to find a bigger room next time around. But yeah, the performance was there. So do you have any mentors, like any regional mentors when you started, or people that you were going to these mics with? Did you have a support group, or were you just going to these mics yourself and trying to figure it out, or did you have anybody kind of, like, I don't want to say handhold, but yeah, I guess mentor is the best way of putting it.
I went to Mike's like totally solo at the beginning, and then I ended up taking a class with Will Noonan. Um, and since then, I would say he's like been my mentor, along with this other guy, Matt Vita, who is a comic out of New York, who I work with at Woolen Mill a lot. But yeah, mainly Will Noonan has, been a mentor to me, and um, you know, but yeah, I went to Mike's, so I mean he wasn't going to Mike's with me.
Now let's talk about Will Noonan for just a second. Does he have the most fantastic head of hair in New England comedy?
He does, it's beautiful, yeah.
Luscious?
It's
Can we say luscious?
it's great. It's very thick.
Were there some heroes you had in comedy when you started that, like, I like his brand of comedy, I would like to be in that box?
I mean, I like someone like Nate Bargatze, but I'm also like a New Englander too, so it's a little different, and I like the New England, like, Bob Marley, obviously. And I also like the 90s comics like Sandler and Jim Carrey and things like that. But So like a mix of all those people, you know. I think people like assume I'm gonna be clean because I'm pretty clean online, but I feel like, and I think I am overall fairly, pretty clean, especially like my topics and things like that. But I'm also like a New Englander, so letting F bombs drop every once in a while.
Well, you're not in that Bob Saget category where people loved him from Full House and thought he was a dad for Full House, and then they would see him tour and he's not the dad from Full House.
Yeah, I'm not that bad, but I'm also like not that. I feel like I'm a little bit more, I don't know,
Well,
aggressive than Danny Tanner was.
well, there's a difference between dropping a couple F bombs and it's like, okay, the material that I saw that you did, absolutely any of it, not like the edgy
I
or
can
dirty,
clean it
but
up.
yeah, one or two words, and it's something that you could do on the Tonight Show,
Yeah.
type thing.
Which is nice because I do like with the New England Dad thing get asked to do like privates, you know. I'm starting to get more and more privates, which is nice, and to be able to do a little bit cleaner and things like that is good. It's making money's good.
So you don't have to be a national row comic to make a living. Would you like to be in the national comic thing?
When I think about it realistically, I think it probably makes more sense for me to be like a regional comic and go to Florida and things like and perform for the Snowbirds and things like that. But it's like at the same time I'm really trying to write more broadly, because I do with the club I work at in Vermont, I do meet a lot of New York comics and like I'm going to New York next weekend and I have a few gigs there. So I am trying to write like more broadly to, be able to perform to different audiences and have more, tricks up my sleeve type of thing because it's like I don't like getting caught in non-New England audiences and not having, different material type of thing.
Well, so with your socials, so much of it is tied to the region. Do you think
Yeah.
would you have to would you mix that up? But which, by the way, my favorite stuff that you do is when you have the 6 New England states represented as like playable
Choose a
characters from video
character.
games. More than
Everybody
yeah.
everybody love that's probably the most I get when people like recognize me out that they like that the most, I would say. Which is crazy to me because it's just so stupid.
It's so simple, but it's brilliant, and you don't write any dialogue. But you have that little touch of the tism rock that the game characters have, before they load in.
Well, I have a touch of the tism, so it helps.
So may I ask, what is your budget? Because you have so many outfits and costume changes, because you have 6 different states every single time, you do that, and you have the props and everything.
I'll tell you, I don't know if I've bought really anything. Maybe that Yukon t-shirt. I bought that you because I'm not a Connecticut person, but I taught forever, so I have like the dress clothes for the Connecticut person. And then like, I grew up on New Hampshire, Mass, so I have like all the sports stuff anyway. I have like the outdoor clothes. It's like it really is like I'm kind of like all those people a little bit, like that's how I like to look at it. Like I'm a little bit of all those characters.
Do you get what states do you hear from the most?
Oh, Connecticut.
No hesitation. I would have thought Rhode Island maybe.
Yeah, no, Rhode Island accepts like their fate, I think. Connecticut's very, they're always saying that they're not like that, which I think is crazy.
Outside of New England, what kind of feedback do you get? Is that really the way it is, or are people confused, or do people get it, or is it just for us? Is that stuff just for us?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's like I get a lot of people that have moved. Like I have a lot of people in Colorado, I have a lot of people in California actually. A lot of people in Florida and like down south, but I think it's like I've kind of see it like accepted my fate with that a little bit because I'll get people sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, you should do like different states." And it's like I don't know those states though. So it's like I feel like I would just be doing it to try and like expand my reach and it's like it wouldn't feel natural to me. I'd rather like do that through different ways like I one video like type of videos I like to do that have done well is just like talking over like a green screen of like a news story basically and I feel like I get like um different viewership through that but to be honest with you like I really try. I know it's easy for me to say now because I have a lot of followers but I've really tried not to like think a lot about that because at the end of the day like wh- you whatever's gonna hit you can either do more of that or less of it and it's like it's all a game it's like and it can be annoying too so
How far ahead do you plan? Do you know like
not
when
far at all yeah I mean
uh,
I know it's like and I to be honest with you and I'm sure you probably will agree with me on this like it's been like hard the past few months because the world's been so crazy that a lot of the times I feel like insensitive posting sometimes, like if a huge news story breaks, like what, or I feel like I'm encouraged to put out content because, it's like a distraction for people, but at the same time, like some days it's hard to feel funny, it's like,
but I talked to another person who I love on the socials in LA, a movie guy who I follow, and man, it's that guy. Just he is so focused where he puts out stuff 7 days a week. His journal is, and he's like, these days I put out this content, and these days I put out this. Something else comes out, and he basically his big thing is he lives in LA. He works on a TV show, and he goes to where famous things in different movies were shot. So it's all
yeah,
movie based, but on Saturdays he takes a funny scene from a movie. But his notebook, it's like so dialed in,
yeah,
like something an engineering professor would have on an Excel spreadsheet, kind of to the day. Where are you kind of one of these? I look, here's a list of words I know I can have fun with, but we got this storm that we weren't supposed to have. I'm going to run downstairs and scrape off the car and do this video.
yeah. I'm like more like fly by this. I'm a comedian, It's like I'm very like fly by the seat of my pants, and I have two notebooks. I have a notebook for social, and I have a notebook for like my stand up, and I try and write every day. And but as far as like the video, I'm lucky if I know what I'm doing for content the next day. Like most of the stuff, like if I have an idea, I'll just do it. It'll take me an hour and I'll put it out. And
Um,
that's how most of my stuff comes about.
the stuff that
But
my wife loves is your pronunciation of words.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like I love the game playing stuff. She loves that. My question that she had is, do you have a list of those words just ready to go?
I did at the beginning, and now it's like I've kind of gone through a lot of them. I actually have a couple that I'm doing in the next week or so. But now I feel like it's becoming more of like topical, like I did like Norista
Yeah.
a few weeks ago,
Space
and
Saver killed me.
Space
Absolutely
Saver
killed me.
Was a great one. Yeah. So I feel like it's becoming, I'm trying to like space them out a little bit more now. I've also gotten kind of sick of doing them. That's like my other problem is like I really some of these creators, and I give them credit, they'll just like hammer it, they'll do something 1,000 times, and it's like I kind of like I get to a point, especially when I like start getting comments, and I know I should like just ignore them, but like, after a while, you'll start getting comments. Even the character in those videos do well every time I post them, but like, I'll get comments with the character videos where it's like, oh, I've seen this before, and it's like, so though it's like, sometimes I'm hard on myself because I want to be as creative as possible, but
When Pocketbook killed her. Like Space Saver got me. Space Saver got me so good. Pocketbook got her, but the Space Saver, when you're like, well, that's my parking spot till April, anyways, so
I live that though. I live it, in Salem. It's like I lived the Space Saver life for a while.
Salem, Mass, Salem, New Hampshire.
Salem, Mass.
Oh, is that where you went to?
Yeah,
Is that
right, yeah, right downtown.
Is that where you went to college?
No, we lived there after college. I taught there for a while.
As your kids get older, do you think it will present more or less challenges doing this, getting it done, or will they be incorporated into it?
They definitely won't be incorporated into it. I've always like said that I don't want like I mean stand up's a little different. I'll probably like talk about them in my stand up going, to some extent. But I've always like kind of said that like I don't want my kids to be the reason that I get followers. I don't want people following me like for my children. That I don't know. To me, that it's just not something that I want to do. But
So yeah, I definitely wanted to use my kids to get, but they're just too ugly. So that just ruled them out for me. It's not that they're ugly; it's that they're really dumb. I wanted to ask, when you said you have your notebook for your comedy and your notebook for your social media, if you were to lose one of these notebooks, if you were out at a family restaurant and you were jotting it down and you left it behind, which one would you be more afraid of losing because you would wind up on a watch list?
uh, probably the stand up book.
And next question, would you rather your stand-up notebook be released to the public or your internet searches? Out of context, for me, definitely my stand-up notebook.
I'm gonna say the same then.
My next question, as far as getting comments and stuff like that, I was not on Facebook until I had to be on Facebook for comedy. I mean, had to be, where bookers are like, you have to post show flyers type thing. Because my biggest thing was I got a personal call from Mark Zuckerberg demanding to know why I was the only person who never signed up for Facebook. And I told them flat out, look, if this person went to high school with me, I hope everything worked out for them. I hope their kids are fantastic. I hope their second wife has the breasts of his dreams. Also, I don't give a fuck, which is why I haven't seen him in 40 years. I don't want this person finding me and asking me about my children. But have now that you're on socials, have you had friends that have come crawling out of the work that's like, oh, remember me? And you'll be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Everyone's been pretty positive, which is nice, But I was like, it's probably not surprising to people that knew me back then, because it's probably what I always should have done, And like I said, like the teaching thing kind of came out of like, that's just what like my parents thought we should do is go to college. And my dad's a carpenter, my mom's like a phone worker, so customer service. So it's like that was like their dream to send us to college. And I was just kind of like, I just like to party back then. So
you know, I like to go with the Rodney Dangerfield line from, back to school. It's like, I always dreamed of going to college. When I was sleeping in high school. With the socials, how much time do you think you expand like doing this a week? Is it at the point where it's no longer, a hobby? Is it still fun? Is it what you like to do? Is
socials of yeah, the social's a full-time job at this point. I'm actually like pretty much salary wise making what I was making as a teacher, which is nice.
It's also not saying a lot. So sadly, sadly,
Yeah.
as somebody
A
who's a
little
big
bit
advocate.
less hours probably, but yeah, I mean hours wise, probably, I mean, I don't know, at like 20 maybe.
And have any of your former students found you?
Yeah. Yeah. I got it. Yeah, I mean, not as many as you would think, but from time to time, I'll get a comment like, "This guy was my science teacher."
So now circling back to your comedy and stuff like that. What is your favorite part? Is it writing? Is it performing? Is it the making new friends? Like what is your favorite part of stand up?
I mean, yeah, probably like a mix of the writing and performing. Like the idea and then seeing the idea work. You know, that's probably my favorite part.
Have you had a joke that you really like? It didn't work. You found a different way to say it, and then it worked. Have you, or do you? If something doesn't work, you're like, okay, maybe that's just for me, and I move on.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of things not work, but I mean, there's been I like my names bit about like my kids' names and stuff. I feel like that has come a long way, and I've worked on that a lot to a point where I feel like it's funnier to a broader audience now. Um, so
So, do you get more helpful, and by helpful, I mean not helpful at all? Hey, you should tell this joke, or hey, you should do a skit about this.
from who?
Uh, uh, Immediate friends and family.
Yeah, more. I'll get get ideas more so.
My
Like or someone will like tell me a word I should do, stuff like that.
and I mean, do you get there's good suggestions, and it's like I won't single anybody out. My mom has come to a show and she's been, oh, that was funny, you should talk about this, and it's like nobody wants to hear about that. Like literally, my Aunt Judy, hysterical to you, Mom. No one wants to hear your Aunt Judy stories. Like, actually, we don't want to hear your Aunt Judy stories. I can tell you. Do you get a lot of those?
Yeah, I mean, I try and just like I'm not very receptive to stuff like that. So it's like I do, but I feel like I just like kind of tone it out. I'll like in my opinion, I feel like you can't listen to a ton of that because I don't know. I just feel like it confuses me more than anything. Like I just have to write about like what I want to write about.
And do you think now some? And I don't know if this is a dumb question. Like, does the social help you get more notice doing comedy, and do you want to kind of those to be two different entities and two different personalities, or do you want to? Or do people expect you to be New England dad when you show up at a show, to be Zach Remi?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think I don't know exactly how to answer that question. I would say that I would like if I could tell people something, it would be that like I'm not, exactly who I am online, and I'm not necessarily, it's like yeah, I think they expect like a certain degree of like New England humor, and I have like a few New England bits, but like I said, I am trying to like balance it a little bit, Um, I try not to think about that a ton, and I try to think more so of like if someone comes and sees me and I'm funny, it's not gonna matter like what their preconception was. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, he put on a great show," and I'm happy,
And I'm happy with that.
So yeah,
Dude,
I try not to think about that a ton because it does it like it can like get into your head of like, oh, should I write more New Englandy bits? But at the end of the day, I'm sure you kind of just have to write about, what's coming to you, So it's like
well, you
because if you
have,
try and
right.
if you force it, at least for me, it doesn't really work, So
No, I mean that's for somebody who's been in it a couple of years. You sound like somebody who's been doing it for 20. You kind of have,
I
but
like
look,
writing. I've always been a writer, So
so that's well, and just by writer you mean like uh uh. Dear Penthouse, you won't believe what happened to me, like that kind of writing, or more,
it's
no.
always something I've taken to, and kind of like understood the and been interested in the process of writing and things like that. So
Now, as a podcast that generally focuses on pop culture and comedy, let's talk about your farming. Like, what is it? What is it that you like about farming? Has that always been part of you? Did you have a small farm at your or a garden at your house that you canned stuff for the winter? How did the whole farming thing come about?
yeah, I mean, I think like growing up, like like food and my parents always had a big garden and you know, but it's funny because they're like more city people and they kind of like moved back to the city after we moved out, but I just like the idea of more than anything of raising my kids like that way and kind of teaching them how, and like that built-in responsibility of, having to do things and collect eggs and clean the chicken coop and I've had my kids out helping me hang, sap buckets this week and things like that. So that's I like doing that stuff. So it's fun.
Somebody from like a real rural area, middle-aged white guy doing their own gardening. I think, oh, doomsday prepper. Okay, I get it. Fantastic. Just be really polite to this guy. You want to be on the good list when things go sideways. Zach, dude, this has been so much fun. Last couple of things, it's like over like the next like year to 2 years, is your folks expanding your reach, doing more shows maybe in New York and outside, maybe down like, I don't know if you'd go down to Connecticut or beyond, like just expand that region more, or work more on material to go from being, the 25-minute feature to the headline guy?
Both, all of the above. It's like really like wherever it takes me. I've gotten a lot of asks to come down to Connecticut, like, from people that live down there and stuff. So I would like to go down. I went to that Pine something ranch, is it called?
Comedy Roadhouse,
No,
Comics
no,
Roadhouse.
it's like no, it's I can't think of it right now, but it's out there in like central Mass on the Connecticut border.
Okay,
It's like a function hall room.
nice.
That's about as far as I've gone into Connecticut. I can't. Samuel Slater's. That's what it's called.
I have not. But
But yeah, I'd like to go down to Connecticut. I'm going into New York. I mean, it's like I'm fairly intimidated to go into New York, but it should be good to like rip the band-aid off.
thank you, for coming on and doing this. You are a super, fun follow. Last thing, if you had any advice to somebody, so you got into it, when you got into it, either on the socials or comedy, if you were to, somebody says, hey, I like to do this, what would the one thing of encouragement or discouragement be?
Yeah, I would say, find something that you like to talk about, because once the algorithm puts you in a niche, it's hard to veer out of that. Because like even when I post different, I post mostly like things about like even like when I'm doing different stuff, like it usually has some sort of New England angle, because and also like when you find something that works, just keep doing that because the algorithm will reward you for that as well. So those would be my two pieces of advice for socials.
That's absolutely fantastic. Right. I think it's important to not forget.
This is my once upon a time. From here on out, the words are mine. This is where I define myself. Torturous game of show and tell, with no lies and no fake straight lines without pretense. In spite of all you might have seen, this is me. Wound like a Hitchcock clock beneath this burned out nonchalance. With every ache makes a man. Some most men can't understand. With cold thoughts and bourbon dreams, blank stares and rubber knees, with litanies inside my head, and spiders in my bed. Want my childhood back. For all I've gained, there's more I lack. And I want 17. My skin was bad, but my soul was clean. Cold December parking lot. Half a joint and root beer schnapps. And I'm half stewed and you're pissed off. I hide each laugh in frosted coughs, but I take you in my trendy coat, your soft night hair, my downy throat. And I knew that my trusting child would break your heart tonight. This is my once upon a time. From here on out, the words are mine. This is where I define myself. Space between each someone else. With cold thoughts and bourbon dreams, blank stares and rubber knees, litanies inside my head, and spiders in my